This is episode 186 on the 25th of March 2020. With disruption in sports events around the world, which are either being suspended or put in limbo for the next couple of weeks and causing headache to many sports bodies around the world, WWE has decided to continue its WrestleMania pay-per-view show without any audience over a period of 2 nights, or rather 2 mornings in the context of Indian Standard Time. Matches will take place on Saturday, April 4 and Sunday, April 5, which means Sunday morning, April 5 and Monday morning, April 6th in India at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, that is 4:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time on Sunday morning. WrestleMania for the first time ever will be held as a 2 night event streaming on Saturday, April 4 and Sunday, April 5 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on WWE Network and available on pay-per-view. WWE announced in a press release. 2 night event will be hosted by three-time Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski. As previously announced, only essential personnel will be on the closed set during the production of WrestleMania. This is certainly a learning curve for other sports events around the world which take place over a longer duration of time. But unlike this event, which usually happens on one night or over a period of 2 nights, it may not be possible to host other events in this manner. So for me, the T20 domestic World Cup that happens in India in April and May should take place with limited personnel on the set. They can reduce the number of matches each team plays, and they can also have a limited number of stadiums where the matches can be played, maybe one stadium for all the teams, and have only essential personnel on the set. And if it means no foreign players will be participating, let it be a different one for this year. Let only Indian players participate in this. But till 15th April, there will be no clarity on whether sports event in general will take place. Till 15th April, there will be no clarity on Indian sports event and sports event around the world in general. So let's return to this sports event which is at least being produced in a time when there is some kind of distraction needed. At least this WrestleMania will keep our minds of whatever is happening in other situations. Most of the WrestleMania matches have already been decided. I talked about the WWE and the Universal Championship last time around. As far as I can predict, for me, Drew McIntyre will beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, and Roman Reigns will also retain his Universal Championship, a championship as it has been reiterated, the one he never lost. Now let's move on to the other championship matches that are to take place. Before that, let's take a look at some of the non-title matches but whose rivalry has gone beyond certain personal and permissible limits. Four very interesting non-title matches will take place between wrestlers who have been rival and friends alike over the past decade. The first one is The Edge versus Randy Orton last man standing match. Now, Edge and Randy Orton were former tag team champions. Edge had retired in 2011 due to injuries, but he returned in a shocking move at Royal Rumble 2020, and this really put him at loggerheads with his former teammate Randy Orton. Then things came to a heat when Edge eliminated Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and since then their rivalry has taken a turn which has become personal. Just like the Dave Bautista Triple H match last year, this will be a match to be remembered as Edge, just like Randy Orton, would want to go out with a bang. The second non-title match, but one with equal rivalry, is the one between John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Now, Cena had competed with Bray Wyatt before at WrestleMania 30 and beaten him, and since then Bray Wyatt has taken a different form. As the WWE goes, Cena announced and said that he will not be participating in WrestleMania 36 before Bray Wyatt challenged him to a match, and once again, in a very smart manner, Cena finds himself to be a part of another WrestleMania event. Night after Wyatt lost the Universal title to Goldberg, Cena returned to SmackDown claiming he didn't want to perform at WrestleMania because he hadn't earned that spot this year. Before he could leave, the Fiend showed up behind him and pointed to the WrestleMania sign, drawing a tip of the cap from Cena and making the match official. Another non-title match that could take WrestleMania by the storm and make it mania to remember will be between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. The WWE management will continue to have Undertaker compete in matches as he draws crowd despite his age. And to while him further, AJ style was used to make sure that AJ style Undertaker match becomes a memorable one. Since the gauntlet match at Super Showdown, the AJ style Undertaker rivalry has taken different proportions as both continue to play mind games with each other. It will be very interesting to see as to how these two individuals team up against each other. Another academic pairing is the one between Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley. Black, who the WWE is trying to make its top star, will meet another veteran in the ring, and these two will compete. It will not be a showdown of in-ring technique but a more of in-ring power. And then the most heated rivalry of all is the one between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Slated to be a rivalry just like once upon a time between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. These two wrestlers have continued to interfere in each other's matches, and it's become another moment of mind games. So another non-title match that will be a part of WrestleMania 36 greatest matches. We'll continue to talk about the WrestleMania matches. The remaining matches will be discussed on the next episode. James Bond movie No Time to Die has been postponed till November. Just like sports matches around the world, sports events around the world, even movie productions or movie which were due to be released in April and May have been postponed for the next couple of months, with the latest example being the James Bond starrer No Time to Die. So either movie shootings have been halted or the completed movies have been postponed. While one can understand the movie shootings being halted due to mostly juvenile reasons, but which individuals try to justify, make this situation a mountain out of a molehill. What I don't understand is why are movies which are completed being postponed. Yes, they may not be released in theaters, but they can sure be released on online platforms. And if the fear is about economic impact, the release of or the postponing the release of the movie will have, then the solution is to release it through digital platforms. For example, release it through Apple Movies and Google Play. If individuals can pay a certain amount for a movie when they go to the theater, they can surely pay the same amount and they can watch it at home. I'm sure if the movie was released through Apple and Google Play platforms, the production house and these two streaming services could have some kind of an arrangement so as to everyone doesn't feel the economic impact. Why rob individuals of a good movie just because theaters around the world are closed? Now the world is about digital platforms. So let's have a new style to this. It's a win-win situation for everyone. Individuals are watching movies and other cinematic productions through digital platform anyways, so let's do something new. It's not going to affect the tradition of watching movies through cinematic platforms or cinema halls. If individuals can pay, for example, in India 500 rupees to watch the movie, then they can surely pay the same amount to watch the movie on digital platforms. If the movies are completed, the post production is done, all the effort to market the movie is also being done, then why not release the movie through such platforms? Let it be an experiment instead of postponing the movie till November, which will be a far greater economic impact for the production house and everyone involved in the making of a movie. Let the movie come through a pay-per-view platform. Anytime someone wishes to watch the movie, they can pay for it. But I disagree with this method of postponing the movie. And then comes the question, what are individuals doing at home anyways when they can't go out? Just let them watch. Since the movie has been postponed till November, it will have to wait. It's not the ideal decision, but a decision taken in haste and out of irrational fear of something which is only in our minds. Now there is a waiting period till October, November, so moviegoers will have no option to wait until then. Is there a symbiotic relationship between curriculum and employment? Curriculum of different institutes and colleges and employment post one's graduation. This is an archaic idea. If the entire proposal of going to a college is to be employed and to work for someone else, then the entire practice of going to a college is a colossal waste of money, time, and resources. Why should institutes and college inculcate new curriculum when eventually students will have to graduate and learn things on their own? Let's look at the opening lines of this article and analyze it minutely. Most aspirants enroll in B schools to fulfill their ambitions of earning fat paychecks and becoming eminent business personalities. This article begins on a very jarring note, and the notion that the only reason one enrolls in different institutions depending upon our aptitude is to earn fat paychecks, which talks about two things. Not only is the idea archaic, but also takes a dig at students who eventually don't have any interest in being a part of the placement process. While one agrees that institutions are also going to provide students with the current trend and the skills associated, one cannot associate one's education with the finality of gaining and employment. The second paragraph of this article makes this discussion even more bone chilling. Nearly 200,000 MBA graduates fail to get jobs out of 300,000 who graduate every year. The first thing what I don't get is this obsession with getting an MBA. MBA is neither directly or indirectly proportional to one's business acumen. Failure to get a job should neither be attributed to the skills of the student or the skills the university or these schools provide. First question is, why is an MBA degree so expensive? And the second question is, why are we so obsessed with getting such degrees? What are we trying to prove to individuals? That we are MBA? In the long run, it is irrelevant and immaterial. First is the gap between industry and the theoretical knowledge being procured in these B schools or any other institute for that matter, be it an engineering school, a business school, or a mass communication school. Sometimes a degree is just a framed certificate on the wall. It has no value beyond that. And as I said, salary cannot be taken as the benchmark of an institution's failure or success to provide knowledge in this technology saturated age. Then the most pertinent question is, why do we need to work for someone else in the first place? Let's take a look at this paragraph and understand what the writer is trying to say. Companies these days look for well-rounded MBA graduates having knowledge, expertise, and business acumen of emerging sectors. If they fail to have such knowledge, where does the blame fall? As always, on the institutions. Here the operative word is companies look for. This obsession of working for someone else is the biggest flaw that individuals have once they graduate out of any institution of their choice. Companies, irrespective of whether they are law firms, business companies, medical, engineering, or any other domain, always look at a fresh graduate with skepticism, as whatever was taught in their respective domains has no reality factor. If that's the case, then these very companies need to change their suspecting nature. And until they change their attitude, no matter how much the world of business or any other domain progresses in terms of new technologies and new theories and practicals coming up, graduates will never be able to live up to these expectations. It's nothing more than a vicious circle as far as the idea of placements and getting a well-paid job with high salaries is concerned. These companies, these institutions will have to shed their ego as far as respecting the fresh graduates go and end their suspecting nature of whether this particular individual has the knowledge or doesn't have the knowledge of the latest trend in that particular domain, because this will always become a catching game. If in 2020 there is a new trend and if an individual graduates from these institutions in 2024, in 4 years, so many new trends would have come up that it will be difficult for the various institutions and the students to cope up with the emerging trends. This will always be a catching game and a vicious circle. So is curriculum related to unemployment? No, these are two different topics and should remain separate. An educational institution, especially an higher educational institution, cannot be judged on the basis of the number of graduates, the number of graduates who got jobs, or its ranking in parameters which are also often biased. When one hears the word skill, what is the first thing that comes to our mind? Skills cannot be defined, though they are often put in discrete categories such as technical skills, communication skills, soft skills, or for that matter, life skills. Let's look at the opening lines of this second article. Life skills training enhances students' ability to crack job interviews and handle the intense competition with greater ease. I disagree with this line. The operating words are ability to crack job interviews and handle the intense competition. Once again, the question comes, what is this obsession with using the word competition again and again? Or cracking job interviews. Life skills or any skills needed or an individual has is more than just the ability to crack job interviews and handle the intense competition. The first step is to remove this idea of competition and cutthroat business, or another word that is used so often by individuals, rat race. There is no competition, there is no rat race, it's just an abstract concept. This obsession with success and failure is also quite demeaning. The first thing that needs to be understood is that skills cannot be imparted or taught in a formal theoretical environment. One should allow skills to mature like a good old wine, and it can happen over the years. Even the most experienced person often do not handle things with maturity. So yes, experience and maturity are also indirectly proportional. Constantly talking about things like anger management, stress management, we are putting focus on such abstract and imaginary ideas. Every major skill cannot be a part of the former curriculum. These things just happen naturally, like an old wine maturing. Reiterating the word stress. Why won't individuals be stressed? And this article focuses on the stress experienced by the students. Maybe the students didn't experience it, but when asked questions, they said yes, so that those questions can be eliminated. For example, let's understand this cutoff system in universities in India specifically. This cutoff system is an archaic system which has to go. There have to be better ways for students to admit themselves in college than based on the idea of marks and cutoff systems. Not just in India but a world over phenomena. Right from the time we are born, we have been told that we have to get into a good school, good college, good job, etc. The moment this vicious circle is created, the moment all this becomes a part of the natural life, stress comes along. How to eliminate stress? Stop thinking about getting into a good college or a good school. First of all, the term good is subjective. What defines a good college? At least in contemporary times, a good college is defined by how many students were placed, or the subjective rankings they are a part of. Or more often than not, the facade of the institution is also a part of the ranking. Then there is the question of how many patents the institution has signed, or how many research papers the institution has been a part of, how many students and teachers have written research papers. The moment such criteria become a norm, become a part, it defeats the very purpose, the very idea of life skills. Writing research papers or filing patents is a very small part of an institution's life. Often, when these research papers are subjected to peer reviews, it's often subjective and biased. So, be it soft skills, hard skills, technical skills, or any other nomenclature associated with the idea of skills, it should happen naturally over a course of time and not be enforced, not at all related to stress, because stress is nothing but an abstract concept until the moment the idea of the cutoff system is eliminated and there is a move on to more flexible ideas of the admission in schools and colleges. The education systems will continue to be in a limbo. We should stop worrying as to what companies want, because what they want is subjective and biased, and their criteria is often influenced by their own experience they had in their own college, and the rest is history. This ends episode number 186 on the 25th of March 2020. The video blog of this talk show will be coming to you every Monday and Friday. Till then, it's good night and goodbye from the studios of Aditya Digital Network.